In an ABC 17 storm track weather alert, mid-Missouri is bracing for an ice storm.
Yes, right now, Governor Eric Greitens is getting ready to lay out the plan for the incoming weather and the plan for the entire state. That includes roads and the potential for power going out. Sharon tells us we could get about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice, which could be devastating.
And to give you perspective on that, compared to what we had last month was just what she would call a glazing.
Yes, so this could be much worse. We also know University of Missouri has canceled classes for tomorrow, as well as Columbia Public Schools and many others. And of course, we're updating that up to date on our website, abc17news.com.
Number of smaller school districts, smaller church organizations, any civic organization, almost all of them are canceling these things. State MoDOT is saying, please stay off the road if you can. If you can just avoid driving, go ahead and do that. Plus, you can check closings and delays on our website at abc17news.com.
And you'll recall with the winter weather, the ice we got on December 16th that we were talking about, there were hundreds of car crashes. So MoDOT really getting ahead this time, saying just stay off the roads if you don't have to be anywhere. And we also talked to Sharon Ray, too, about the last time we got a big ice event like this. That was actually back in 2007. There was an inch of ice in mid-Missouri.
And like Sharon said, it doesn't matter if it's just a light glazing of ice or an inch of ice. It's ice. It's something you have to worry about. It's the infrastructure. It's power lines being down. It's your windshield being covered in ice, and trying to get that off, that's an issue. So, and what you're looking at right now, they're awaiting the governor. Governor Eric Greitens, of course, sworn in just a couple days ago, really, and now here he is already enacting yesterday Executive Order 1705, activating the State Emergency Operations Center, and that's what you're seeing here.
And you can see just how crowded it is in this room. Big decisions to be made, and of course, like we said, this really could be a devastating event, so we want to keep watching it, and it seems like they're taking it very seriously.
Right, and Marissa, what you were talking about right before we went on the air here, what if it all just blew over? And that's what we're all hoping. That's what everybody would love to see happen.
For that.
We made it much ado about nothing. However, it is better to be prepared, and that's what everyone's saying. Just like Columbia Public Schools, Dr. Peter Stiepelman saying he doesn't like to cancel schools on just forecast, but he said that that's what the CPD, what everyone's asking to do, so he went ahead and did that out of a measure of precaution, safety.
Yeah, and the ice event we were talking about from last time, December 16th, here's video of it. You know, speaking of the schools, some of those kids that take the bus home didn't even get home till after midnight
the next day.
Yeah, so canceling school, you know, just in case, that's probably a smart idea. But yeah, I mean, we all remember this, hundreds of crashes. I remember just being in our newsroom this day, calling up to some of the tow truck companies for some of these cars that were stranded. Some of those companies were telling me up to a 9-hour wait.
Yes.
So if you do go out on the roads in this next event and it turns out, you know, to be what we all think it might, you know, it is important to make sure you're prepared, that you've got food, water, blankets, all of that stuff that you're going to need.
And also, it's important to remember that if you lose power, that's not a 911 call. Some folks at some 911 operators have asked us to mention that. Unless there is an emergency there, usually that's a call you make to your power company. If there's an emergency, if a tree is on a power line, if a power line downs in your neighborhood, in your driveway, in your yard, that's something to watch out for.
And obviously, we see Eric Greitens walking up to the podium here.
I'm Ron Walker.
I think we're going to listen in. Let's hear what they have to say.
It's my pleasure to welcome you guys here. We've been, as you can see, we've been planning for Winter Storm Jupiter. Based on the support we've had from Governor Greitens and his team, we're able to do some things in preparation that we've never fully accomplished before. So I think we're in a great position to move forward. I want to thank the governor for his support. It's my pleasure to welcome the governor to the podium. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Good afternoon. We've been closely monitoring what is now Winter Storm Jupiter all week. My emergency management team has been tracking the possible effects of this storm and coordinating response plans with our federal, local, and state agencies. The National Weather Service has raised the current winter storm watch to a warning. And while, of course, we continue to pray for the best, we are preparing to respond to ensure that we can protect the lives, health, and safety of the people of Missouri. Winter Storm Jupiter could lead to dangerously icy roads, can lead to downed trees, and to power outages. Yesterday, I signed an executive order opening this State Emergency Operations Center, which is now operating 24 hours a day to coordinate our response. We brought together a team here to make sure that we're ready to respond to any emergency, no matter how bad the storm becomes. Our team includes the National Weather Service, the Department of Public Safety and the State Emergency Management Agency, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, the Missouri Department of Transportation, electric utilities and power companies, and also our invaluable faith-based volunteer response partners, including Convoy of Hope and the Red Cross. I've also assembled our cabinet to ensure that we're ready with all of our emergency response plans. This afternoon, I declared a state of emergency and called up the Missouri National Guard in preparation for the effects of Winter Storm Jupiter. We're going to be prepared for whatever the storm brings. The Missouri Department of Transportation has over 1,500 trucks available for winter operations. All will be in operation for this storm. MoDOT's already begun pre-treating the roads across the state, and this will continue throughout the duration of the storm. MoDOT's also worked to make sure that it has the resources to respond to power outages and downed trees, preparing essential materials such as generators and chainsaws. This evening, more than 3,500 responders begin working 12-hour shifts for the duration of the storm, and employee leave has been canceled. Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers are working extended shifts, employee leaves have been canceled, and they are pre-positioning essential resources where they think they'll be most needed. The Missouri Department of Public Safety has pre-staged over 100 generators across the state to be used in areas that are hardest hit by the storm. As we continue to learn more about the storm, we will share it with the public. And we're also going to take steps to prepare for the possible, and as we take steps to prepare for the possible effects of Winter Storm Jupiter, I'd ask all of my citizens in the state of Missouri, all of our fellow citizens, to do the same. And right now, there are a few key things that people who are watching at home can do to make sure that they and their families stay safe. Number one, now is the time to get essentials like food and medicine that you may need if you're going to be at home for a few days. Have on hand foods that don't require cooking and a manual can opener. Peanut butter and canned foods can help people to get through a power outage. Charge your cell phones now in case you lose power. Make sure that you have flashlights and extra batteries. I'm also requesting that everyone in the path of the storm stay off the roads late tonight and going into tomorrow. Stay off the roads unless it's an emergency. This is for your own safety and also for the safety of our first responders. Staying off the roads is going to allow our emergency crews to work tonight without interruption to keep all of us safe. I've directed the Commissioner of the Office of Administration to implement the state's hazardous weather policy for state employees as appropriate. And if the need arises, we will encourage businesses to delay opening or to close on Friday. We'll continue to work with school systems across the state to closely monitor this situation and ensure the safety of our children. Please also remind your neighbors, if they are using a generator, do not bring the generator inside. This includes garages. This is very dangerous and it can be deadly. Generators release carbon monoxide, and one of the main causes of death during a storm like this is people who bring their generators inside. So please remind your friends and your neighbors not to do so. For more information, please go to mo.gov. If you go out to the website, we've put up resources on how you can keep yourself and your family safe. There's also an interactive map to show if the storm is going to be affecting you and your neighbors. Finally, I'd ask every citizen of the state of Missouri to check on your neighbors. Please check especially on the elderly, the disabled, anyone who you think may require additional assistance during this storm. As we receive more information on the possible effects of Winter Storm Jupiter, we will keep you updated. And I'd ask that everyone say an extra prayer tonight for our first responders and for all those who are working around the clock to keep us safe. Any questions?
This is a state operation, awfully expensive. How can the state afford it?
Look, our focus is on making sure that we keep every citizen in the state of Missouri safe. We're going to bring all of the resources to bear that we need to keep every citizen safe, and that's our focus. That's our priority right now. We will find the resources to make sure that we keep people safe during this emergency.
There was a pretty rough ice storm a few weeks ago.
Yes.
What were some of the lessons learned during that? Because that seemed to cause a lot of congestion and a lot of pain for people. What are some of the lessons that this group is taking forward from that into this storm?
Yes. So what we've done here is we've gotten ahead of this event. Yesterday, I signed the order opening this Emergency Operations Center. The Missouri Department of Transportation has been out already pre-treating the roads in preparation for this event. As I mentioned, they also have 1,500 pieces of winter equipment. They've put all of those into use. Leaves have been canceled, and people are starting to work 12-hour shifts starting tonight, and will continue to do so throughout the duration of the storm. So the bottom line is we see this coming. We see the possible effects of Winter Storm Jupiter, and we've got in front of this so that we can respond appropriately.
Governor, if I understood
Yes,
you
please.
correctly, the National Guard has been activated?
That's
yes?
correct. The National
Where
Guard
will
has been
they
activated.
be? What will they be doing?
The National Guard has been activated, and what we've done is that we've first activated our liaison officers and our logistics officers through the National Guard. We've been working with General Danner and his team we've also put in place a quick reaction force so that we have our National Guard members who are available to take on missions as they will be assigned. So those missions could include route clearance. Those missions could include doing health and wellness checks on folks who might be trapped in their homes during power outages. So they are ready and available to be tasked based on the missions that come up.
Do they have police authority? Should citizens respect them as officers of the law for the duration of this event?
I would always ask, not just today, but every day, for every citizen in the state of Missouri to respect every member of the National Guard and all of our first responders. We are all in what could be a major event together, and I'd ask every citizen of the state of Missouri to respect every first responder, whether they're driving an ambulance, a firefighter, a law enforcement officer, a member of our National Guard team, including the folks in the Missouri Department of Transportation. I'd ask everyone to cooperate during this event so that we can ensure everybody's safety.
This might be more of a meteorological question, but a lot of people have reference for when a snowstorm is going to be bad, what the inches are like. So how do we know, or what kind of risk can we expect from half an inch of ice or 3/4 of an inch of ice?
Yeah. I will let the National Weather Service and the folks at the Department of Public Safety give you a very detailed answer to that question. But the bottom line is if you get more than half an inch of ice, you could start seeing things like power outages. You could see lines that go down. But again, let me make sure that they give you a very detailed description. We just went through a detailed briefing of what might happen if there's a 1/4 inch of ice, a half an inch of ice, 3/4 of an inch of ice, an inch of ice. We've thought through all of those different contingencies, and I'll make sure that they give you that in detail.
Governor, some reference
Yes.
was made to that ice storm a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
We had some school buses in St. Charles County that were delayed till 10:30 at night.
Yes.
This is the first major event of your administration.
Yes.
How engaged are you going to be throughout this?
We're very engaged, and we've been engaged all week. I've been working with my emergency management team and the Department of Public Safety since I took office to make sure that we're ready for any emergency, and we've gotten in front of this one. It's why we signed the order setting up this Emergency Operations Center yesterday. It's why today we've declared the state of emergency and activated the National Guard. You can expect me to be engaged throughout this event.
Last question.
Is the fact that it's a 3-day weekend, does that help or hamper? Is it a weekend where people might be traveling more, or is it better because businesses might be closed on Monday?
What's most important, whether it's a 3-day weekend or even just a regular weekend, is for everybody to make really wise decisions and to put safety first. And so I'd emphasize, if people did have travel plans, to recognize that travel can be extremely dangerous and that they'd be putting themselves and our first responders in harm's way. And as I said, for anybody who's in the path of the storm, I'd ask them to stay off of the roads. Guys,
Quick
please.
policy question.
Sure,
You've called for stricter penalties against those who assault police officers. We already have stricter penalties against those who assault officers. Why are more penalties necessary for that?
Summer, thank you. We're going to focus all of our questions today on Winter Storm Jupiter, but I'll be happy to get back to you on that. Guys, thanks again very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and there you go. 3 days after he is sworn in a special report here on ABC 17 News. We are interrupting programming again for this winter storm, this winter ice storm that they are calling Jupiter.
Winter storm Jupiter,
Right.
yeah. The governor talked about there will be 1,500 trucks out treating the roads, more than 3,500 responders working 12-hour shifts.
All leave and vacation canceled at this point.
Yeah, and he, has declared a state of emergency here, has called in the National Guard. He also gave a few tips for people out there, talked about getting the essentials, getting food, medicine ahead of time. We saw a picture from Hy-Vee today, not a carton of eggs left in the store in Columbia.
But peanut butter is always a good idea, and that was something he talked about as one of the things you can do. You want to buy food that doesn't obviously
Require
involve a lot of
cooking.
preparation or cooking, and make sure to remember to get a powered, hand-operated can opener. Not a,
Yeah, he also talked about having flashlights ready. I was doing a little check in my head. I'm like, I don't know if I know where mine is, so.
And we
important to
talk
think
about that
ahead.
often,
Yeah.
and people, I think, hear this, and it kind of just bounces off like, oh, okay, we'll see you on the other side of that. But really, it is a smart thing to have done. And also, if you're going to be in your car, which you really, if you can avoid it, we want to head and do that, avoid doing that. Also, you can get our Storm Track weather app, and that's easy to find at abc17news.com.
Yes, and our Storm Track weather team is tracking everything up to the minute, so you're going to want to stick with us tonight for updates on this winter storm.
We're going to flip it back over to programming right now, and we'll see you back here on ABC 17 News at 5, if not sooner.
Thanks for joining us.